Hello and welcome to episode 6 of our Eagles Nest In series, where we all stay at home, protect the NHS and save lives, practicing our social distancing, but still using technology to catch up with friends and family, whether they're here in the UK or further afield, all around the world. We're doing that with some of our former Eagles players, some staff members still with us, and some that we just have fond memories of, and we can't wait to hear their stories as they share them with you in this series. We'll be looking back at some historic games and some of those big title wins by our Eagles as well. Hope you've enjoyed all the episodes so far and hearing from some of the players. And in tonight's episode, well, we've got a very special guest. We are going to be looking back at the 2007-2008 BBL Championship season title win today. It was our 8th silverware win, and in the season we were runners-up in the finals of the BBL Cup, losing to the Milton Keynes Lions, as they were in the BBL at the time. And the trophy, we unfortunately were runners-up to Guilford Heat. But it's a game against the Guilford Heat, who finished second in the league, that we're going to watch today, as our Eagles got that historic season win to win the title for only the second time in the club's history, but doing it in such a spectacular fashion. An amazing game we've got coming up for you, and on Guildford's soil as well. So that year, think back to it. Who were the players in that season? Well, we had some amazing Eagle stars, some of whom we've already spoken to in Nest-Ins, but tonight I did promise you a very special guest, and it is the winner of the prestigious title of MVP for that BBL season by the league that joins us now, Eagles Hall of Famer. Please welcome to the Nest-Ins, Lynard Stewart.
Hey everybody. Glad to be here.
Great to be talking to you, Lynard, and great to see you again. For the first time for some of our Eagles who perhaps saw you, I think we were just chatting before we started recording there. Was it about 5 or 6 seasons ago when you visited us at Sports Central?
Yeah, that was an amazing trip for me. Me and my family, my dad came across. 2 of my best friends was also able to travel. So it's been about 5 years ago. A real momentous moment in my life to be able to come back and get honored by such a great team. So I think it was 5. I don't want to say 6. If we say 6, that means we're getting older.
Well, yeah, I'm afraid that catches up with us all. But we're looking back at a game from a few years ago, so we can all remember the youth a little bit, I think, while we're enjoying the Nest-Ins. Yeah, we honoured you into our Hall of Fame, I think it was, at that game, brought you out on court. I remember doing that myself, I think.
Yeah, that was an amazing thing. I think I seen the video I think you might have put together. Paul mentioned to bring me out and to watch that video on screen. I had to hold back some tears. Actually, before that moment, we talked in the back at the before the game. And normally where Fab gives his speech and Paul gives his speech, so we had some moments back there before the game started, and I came out on court.
It was a very exciting time to be around the club back then when you started with the Eagles in the 07-08 season. Around about the time, flicking back through the history books, you played around Europe, played back in the US, in Britain with the Sharks and the Towers.
Yes.
And then another stint in Europe before landing back with us for a number of years. How did you find that the game differed around the world where you played, whether it was from starting out to eventually landing in the BBL?
Well, always like the biggest difference is when you play in other places of the world, they normally have a large amount of bigger guys, 7-footers, 6'11" guys. So I think that's the only reason that was the difference with the BBL. We always had forwards, athletic forwards, great guards. But when you went to Belgium or played in Israel or played against those teams, they always probably had like a more dominant, really true center of a type player. So that's just the major difference. So the transition sometimes is a little easier. Or I remember a time when we would play a team, they would come scrimmage us and they'd be like, you guys are just so fast. You know what I mean? So that's just the major difference in the leagues and stuff like that, is that they have a more variety of big, true big men.
When you played with the Sharks and the Towers, it was early in the noughties, and obviously at the time, our Eagles were a team in transition, going from having relocated the franchise to Newcastle, and then growing through those early years, some growing pains, but then eventually becoming the dominant force in basketball that we've been through the years. What was it like playing with some of those other clubs in the BBL? We rarely get a chance to hear what it's like on the other side of the Eagles.
It's a good question. The structure is always the same with all of the teams and what their goals are. You know what I mean? Building a good, strong foundation for the league, in the communities, and and then a team. I think I have on my wall behind me, one of the another great team that I played with was in Sheffield when I think we won 2 of the 3 pieces of silverware. Every league, every team is the same. I think it's about the resources that you have also that makes a great team in the BBL. Like if you're able to get in the gym and practice when you want, or be able to work on your skill set, that's really important to the BBL, because I did play on the team down in London where we might have been in different gyms 2-3 times throughout the week, just trying to get some practice time to try to build that unity and things like that. So the teams that's able to lock down a resourceful gym and get time in the gym with your team is the teams that's normally sometimes successful. And that's what we was able to do when I was at Sheffield. We struggled with that in London. As I monitor league, still monitor the league today. And I know Leicester is a team that has its own facility. Newcastle now has its own facility. So the teams that is able to lock down a good, strong gym and be in the gym as much as possible, that's where the success came from. But overall, everybody, got the same goals. They want to be win a piece of silverware, have a strong foundation in the community, and and provide the fans with great entertainment.
We want to get you to the ECA sometime. You've got to come visit us, come back and see what we've built on Scotland Road in Newcastle.
I've been watching, and it was amazing because when I was there, the plans was being laid, the blueprints was out. Obviously, there was a big financial crisis across the globe that affected it. But I seen the plans for the gym. Like, that's one of the things Fab always talked about, or Paul would talk about, is like the gym. So it was originating back, it was being born, or the seeds was being planted way back in 2007. And for you guys to accomplish that this past year was amazing.
Well, we can't wait to welcome you back across if we can tempt you at some point.
Yeah.
There are rumours of
my wife left me.
There are rumours of an Eagles Legends game at some point, so maybe we can twist your arm to
Legend game. Okay, I got to make sure I'm staying in shape for that one.
Going back to that 07 season, as I said at the start of the Nesting tonight, you were named MVP in the BBL that year in our first campaign with us, averaging, it says on my notes here, 15.8 points, 8.6 rebounds per game. You were named our Players Player of the Year that season too. Mm-hmm. I think in this game that we're going to watch today, you score a double-double of 20 points, 12 rebounds that people are going to enjoy seeing against Guilford on their floor. It was a real great time for you with our Eagles in that season.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a great. I was transitioning back from playing in Belgium. Chris Finch, who I played with originally in Sheffield. So I was transitioning back, and Andrew Bridge was on that team, and we spoke before even signing and coming back to Newcastle. And he told me about the benefits and, the great things that the team was doing. So I was really excited to come back. I was really excited to come back to establish myself, and hopefully I wasn't forgotten. And so coming back that year for me was a great moment, especially to a familiar area. I knew Charles Smith also from playing in the league, and Jeremy Hyde. Those guys I already knew. So being able to come back to a team that was so welcoming, it was great. I think that's why I probably had the season that I had that year. If I can recall a little bit of the game, we might have went in overtime.
Yeah, that's right.
We might.
That's right.
Yeah, see, that's right. I think it was a great game. I think we wound up going to overtime. You know, if I can recall, it was a real, you know, the Heat at that time was a great team. And to be able to go down there and do that against them was great.
It is an overtime win. You're right. 101, 108 for you guys. That overtime win. It is some game, isn't it? And I think you may or may not remember this, but going, I think it was out of the third into that third quarter break, without spoiling the game too much. Everyone knows the result. We are actually down by 20. So I'd love to know if you can remember what was Fab saying to you in that third quarter break to get you guys to come on a rebound into the fourth.
Yeah, that was a good one. Most likely always the same thing. But to think back, we was a team that year that never was out of anything. We just knew it was almost like we had a button that we needed to know we had to push at a certain time. And you can see it if you watch some of the games that year. It just seemed like it was a button push, like boom, oh, come on, let's go. And you know, normally me and Fab, we have a great relationship. But I communicated with him probably last week. And for me, with him, he just had to just give me a look and be like, come on, let's go. And, you know, it just transitioned from me to everybody else. And I think we pushed that button after the third, like, look, we ain't come all the way down here to give up a chance to win this league. You know, so let's go out there and do what we do. And that's what we did.
I just spotted over your shoulder, you're talking about Fab, but you have that photo on your wall just behind you there. Which is an absolute great shot. There's another of Fab as well, I think.
Yeah, this is my memory wall right here behind me.
That one of Fab there as well, which people might remember from seeing at the time. There's a huge amount of attention and spotlight on you guys in that season, wasn't there? There was so much marketing with Northern Rock having just come on board as sponsor with Nike as well. It was a real exciting time for the whole club,
for the
organization. And everyone around it.
Yeah, it was an amazing time for me and the whole organization. Like I said, it was a great time. You know, it just had that one thing that kind of crushed everybody across the globe was that the financial breakdown of the banking system. But that year was amazing. I remember going to the Fenwick's, I believe it's called, and they had a sporting section. They had our jerseys in there. We had a lot of promotional events that we was doing. That photo of me was, it may seem like that I was really somewhere, but I remember that exact photo shoot. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was a big whiteboard. They was like, just jump and act like you're aiming for something. And to see the results come out like that was amazing. But yeah, that was a great time for the team and the organization. I remember like sometimes walking around the city and the fans would recognize you and come up to you and ask you to sign stuff because of those things. But, you know, being able to promote the team and the organization in such a manner was great for the organization then.
Lynard, it's been awesome to catch up with you and hear some of your stories from that time. I want to give people a chance to watch this amazing game.
Yes.
In the game, which people are about to see, do you think that at the start of that game, knowing the way that it goes now, obviously, and putting that in a box for a second, that there were extra nerves on the table with you guys coming out of the locker room?
No, it probably was overconfidence with us. And, you know, we kind of was that way sometimes because that button that I mentioned, we knew we had it. And so we probably came out like thinking, okay, we're the best team. We're going to come down here to Guilford and just, you know, show them something. And we came out that way. You know, we carried a lot of confidence, which is good, but could be bad at times. But because we knew we had that button, sometimes that's how we started games out. You know, like not in the right defensive position, not making the right offensive plays, not talking, not communicating. And then Fab sometimes gets into like, all right, I'm going to try this guy. I'm going to try this guy. I'm going to try this guy. So we was more so overconfident. We never was nervous that year, you know, and it starts from up top. So I myself was never nervous going into a game. You know, it was either I had to either I just knew what I had to do. Either I come out strong myself or let the other guys get involved. So, you know, I think I led the team that year. So it was just more like, oh, we overconfident. And I remember traveling down, getting there, and we was on a bus, like, being, not the way we should have been prepared for that game.
Well, look, we can't wait to see it. And as I say, it's been great to hear your stories and catch up with you again. We wish you,
Yes.
all your family and everyone there all the best through the whole time while we're all staying at home and just staying safe. So all the best to you. Thanks again for talking to us, and we look forward to seeing you at the ECA soon. Get yourself over here.
Yes, well, I'll be waiting for that invite. Hopefully they send it in like a gold envelope, the Legends invite. I think I just put that out there, didn't I? Make sure you get my address, and make sure everybody else is being safe out there too. The fans, you guys, it's a tough time across the world, even over here. We're in, my wife is actually working from home in the other room. So, it's a tough time for everybody. So we're all going to get through it, but I wish everybody well and be safe out there.
So here we go then. It's back to Sunday, 6th of April, 2008. On the road at Guilford Heat. We're at the Guilford Spectrum in Surrey for a huge game for our Eagles with the title of the BBL Championship of the 07-08 season on the line. We've got a hell of a game coming up for you, which goes all the way to overtime. So sit back, get some snacks, and get ready to enjoy some great basketball. At the time of recording this interview, the footage we're about to show you does have a little section missing from it. So don't be alarmed if the score does jump by a few points. I think it's in the second quarter. We are digging through the archives to find some amazing games that we're dusting off right now. So some of them need more dusting than others. Stay at home. Protect the NHS, save lives, and enjoy the game. If you're watching this on our Facebook page, jump over to our YouTube channel right now to watch all the action.
First clock to Eagles. Stewart opens the scoring. Pushes off to throw, in and out. Bridge checked out by Gilbert. Heat possession. Newcastle's number 13 tries to throw, saving the screen. First foul. Heat by 1 at 3-2. Shot away. Bridge. Shoot. Bridge. Inside to Defoe. Basket is good. Foul scored on Mike Martin. Defoe makes the moves. Lynard Stewart. Foul scored by BBL. Well, about 3-second violation was the ball. Guilford just short to vote. Into Stewart. Stewart wriggles, gets his own rebound. Puts it in. Stewart to four. Joe Short. Mark Martin keeps it alive. Stewart Short. Dorsey, Mark Martin keeps it alive. Foul scored by 6, Andrew Bridge, first personal. It's the game for the first time, number 7, Steve Levin. Drives to follow contact. Great work from Guilford underneath, gets a 5-point lead, 15-10. Number 12, James Jones. First personal Jones. Lowering the bonus. Danny Gilbert goes inside, foul scored on 15, Lynard Stewart, first personal. It's time for the jumper. Harrison leads all scores with 8-11. We're not sure what the call was there, whether it was 2 points or 3-second violation. We'll find out in a second. Basket shoots, final score by Mike Martin. So the foul scored on Mike Martin, basket is good, bonus shot to come. 22, Danny Gilbert got the basket and scored for a goaltender. So it's a basket good for the Heat. Tonight, a 3-point and 2 3-point plays for tonight. Eagles take the 1-point lead. First 3-pointer, 4 3-pointers for the Eagles. Steve Levin. Does he get a shot at the rim? So we have not a lot left on the clock, but the maker's done. That's a great first attempt. Just Andrew Bridge back in the game. Steve Levin comes out with 11 points against leading scorer Steve Levin. Puts it in. 48 all, 4 minutes to go in the second period. Second foul, number 2 shots. Darius Defoe on the line, D2. to follow the line with 2-1. Welcome back to the action. Try this. Hey! John Murray takes the break. Minute 12 to go in this first half. In the last 34 seconds of this first half, Heat by 3. Possession, 13 seconds after this first half. Into the game for the first time, number 11, Brian McCotter. And Holly Barlow comes back to the remaining 3.5 seconds. Lynard Stewart and Darren Stewart again. So we're all ready for the third period, starting the second half. Here in the first. Lynard Stewart runs it across the rim. EJ Harrison pulls it down. Mike Martin battles Andrew Bridge for it. Andrew Bridge in the walls for the second time. Lynard Stewart steps out of bounds for Heat possession. Just resetting the shot clock. Ball was intercepted by Lynard Stewart, but officials saying he did have control of the ball and stepped out of bounds with it. EJ House doesn't quite get the drop. Lynard travels. 57-68, they lead by 11. It's the very next one for Steve Levin. Good shoots long, rebound by James Stokes. Get the drop. Never gets a piece of it. Foul score against against 22. Danny Gilbert. Second personal. First foul of this period against the Heat. Traffic. Steele comes in. Guilford to 17. Lynard Stewart still on the floor. Heat by 17 points. Foul score against 15, E.J. Harrison. That is foul number 1 against Harrison. Second foul against the Heat this period. Foul score against E.J. Second in a hurry against Harrison. Third foul against the Heat. Along through, doesn't get it. No basket. The foul is committed on the pass by Tony Dorsey on the Lynard Stewart, so the basket does not count. Tony Dorsey, first foul, team fouls against the Heat. Makes the bonus. He scored all 7 of Newcastle's last points. Third foul on Stewart, first against the Eagles in this third period. Lynard to 11 goes up. Foul scored on Mike Martin, foul number 3 on Mike Martin. Sixth foul against the Heat this period. Eagles to North Carolina, latest one for Barbarella throws it up, goes up bridge, goes out of play, Heat possession. Foul play is called against number 12, Ollie Barbarella. Second foul against Barbarella. Second foul against the Eagles this period. James Jones. Jones's fourth foul. Dean Williams comes back into the game. James Jones is down 6 points, 4 fouls. Leads number 12, James Defoe back in for Lynard Stewart.
It's not enough time left.
Bridge, 2 out of 2. He's got 3 from 4. Harrison, 2. Mike Martin to 20. 25 points. Heat by 19. We're less than a minute to go in the third. And 26 to the Heat captain. 20 points, the Heat lead. To four. DJ pulls up for an handle. 2.5 seconds left in this third period. 18 points the difference. Second Bristol. Picks up technical foul. To throw this first miss from the line down the other end. Can he go for the two? Trying to go for this first miss from the line. And sideline possession to the Heat for the coach technical, or the player technical in fact. Foul scored on Dean Williams, second foul on Williams, second against the Heat this period. Before technical. Nice pass from Williams, but Martin in traffic can't convert. 16. Foul scored on 13, Darius Defoe, second personal. First foul this period against the Eagles. Second in fact was one tackle. Andrew Bridge can't get a piece of it. He's down to the clock, got 13-7, 45 to go. Of course, in this last period is gone. Foul called against number 15. Lynard Stewart's first points in this fourth period. Short rebound, Pavlola. Shoots it over the ring. In possession. Foul scored against Danny Gilbert, team control foul, fourth foul against Danny Gilbert. Team fouls against the Heat for the fourth time in the game. Defoe to 18, 10 points the difference. 6 minutes, under 6 minutes to go. Team control foul against Tim Johnson. Third and Dorsey and Danny Gilbert shot on the last 10. Coaches have one time left. Stewart shoots wide. Defoe doesn't get the drop. Heat possession. Steve. Hit by 12, 4 minutes to go in this afternoon's BBL game here at the Spectrum.
Could Ruth Fetchers come to the announcers table, please?
Tony Dorsey, fourth foul against Dorsey. Out of the 2 shots sideline to the Eagles. Steve Lynard stops into the game. 14, Dennis Defoe comes up. Technical foul called against and 2 shots inside line to the Eagles. Foul scored on Steve Levin. Levin scored foul against the Eagles this period. It's the last minute. Foul scored on Andrew Brooks. That is the fourth foul. Foul scored on fourth foul for Lloyd. BJ Harrison, 2 shots, 16 seconds to go. Eagles, Bridge 10, Steve Levin 27, Lynard Stewart 25, Lloyd 11. We managed to get the shot off in set 10, 5 minutes. Barcelona goes on to lose 4. James Jones gets it for the lead. Bridge puts it out. Steve Levin back in the game. Just sorting out exactly what happened, we'll talk to the official who made the call. So, Bertie Shahar, came on the short violation. The buzzer that sounded was not the one on the table. It was Liverpool on the ball, and he came out to function before the 24/7 shot clock went off. So that pass is brilliant. Florida to 13. Stewart with the rebound. Halfway through overtime. That's the 30 points to Steve Levin. Okay, following the timeout, he get possession from in the front court. The difference. Eagles come out of the board. Fourth foul on Martin. Let's go to the end of the game. Duke, please stay in the seats. We have to record a birthday greeting to Brian Dukes at the end of the game. Duke, please stay in the seats. That's the 100 points lead. Who won the trophy last year will present the BBL Trophy right here, right now, to the new BBL champions, the captain, Guilford captain, and that program will be, or that game will be recorded or shown live on St Andrews Sports. If you guess the score, 101.98, from senior, we got £10 for you. Congratulations, the Attitude Army, the Newcastle Eagles. Set up, BBL champions. I'm now handing back to the MC, Phil Seymour, who's been last year doing something special for Brian Dukes.
Thank you very much, you guys. We'll give them a couple of minutes just for their celebrations. If you could just play
blue bubble. So the Heat.
There's a great game between probably the two best teams in the country this afternoon. Don't forget to come down on Wednesday when we take on the Worcester Wolves.